I spoke because I chose truth. I looked at the world around me and said aloud what many felt but feared to name, that we were not free. We lived under an empire that demanded obedience, taxes, and silence, and beneath local authorities who enforced that rule in exchange for privilege. I told my friends and my family that this was slavery dressed up as order. At first, they listened. They dreamed, as I did, of freedom, or at least of lighter burdens, fewer payments, fewer threats. But truth is dangerous when it spreads. When the rulers learned that people were listening to me, they did not come for me first. They went to those closest to me. They threatened arrests, punishments, the loss of status and safety. They reminded my friends and family that their small advantages over others could vanish in an instant. And so they turned on me. That betrayal shocked me more than the violence that followed. Fear taught them faster than love ever could. They handed me over, believing that sacrificing one voice would save them all. I was executed publicly, cruelly, as an example. The message was clear. This is what happens to those who speak truth too plainly. The lesson did not end with my death. The empire learned from it. They discovered something more powerful than fear alone, hope redirected. They allowed stories to grow that softened the brutality of my end, stories that promised life beyond death, justice beyond this world. If suffering here could be reframed as a test, obedience could be reframed as virtue. Truth had frightened the system, so the system reshaped it. My words about justice and fairness were preserved, but postponed. Not for now, not for this world, but for later. Someday. After death. In heaven. In this way, people could endure injustice while believing it all meant something. Their reward would come eventually, if they were patient, faithful, compliant. A religion was built where rebellion became sin and submission became duty. Where my name was used to bless the very structures I had spoken against. Where people were taught that endurance of suffering was holy, and that questioning power meant questioning God. And so the empire remains to this day. Not because the truth was defeated, but because it was buried under comfort, ritual, and promises deferred. The chains remained, but they were made invisible, wrapped in meaning, and carried willingly. That is the tragedy I leave you with, not that I was silenced, but that my words survived only after they were made safe for power. So, I speak to you now, not from heaven and not as the Son of God, but as a human, exactly the same as you, and I beg you to use your decency and fairness, just as I tried to, 2,000 years ago. Do it now, do it for me. I did not create the slave religion that stole my name. Save me, because I was not a monster, and neither are you.